Part 4 of your intro videos this week. This one we're going to be using another rule called the cosine rule, which helps us to find angles and sides in a non-right angled triangle, but this time with different information than you would have got with the sine rule. Okay, so here is the cosine rule. Okay, it's pretty much Pythagoras' theorem. A squared equals b squared plus c squared, and then you take off a little bit. Okay, please note that the side you want to find, okay, then you need to know the opposite angle to that side. Okay, so if you want to know this angle, if you want to know this side, then you need to know this angle. Okay, so let's have a look at this in practice. So a key word is an included angle. Included angle. You're going to hear me say that a few times. And what I mean by that is, let's say I know this is 10, this is 8, and I know this angle here. Let's say it's 30 degrees. Then that will help me find out this length x here, because 30 is the included angle, i.e. we know the sides that include that angle. Okay, if in fact all you knew was this angle, this is not the included angle, so you would not be able to use the cosine rule for this. In fact, you'd have to use the sine rule. Okay, so hope you understand what is meant by an included angle. Okay, so here is a written example of how it's done. I don't really need to go through it, it's very basic. Needless to say, we're trying to find the length a, so a squared is equal to the two sides we know squared added together minus 2 times those two sides times the cosine of the opposite angle. Okay, and that helps me find a squared. So what I need to do is, when I get that, I need to square root my answer. Okay, and I get 6.20 centimeters to 3 significant figures. Okay, so stop your video and have a go at this one. Okay, very easy. X squared is equal to 6.3 squared plus 10.2 squared minus 2 times 6.3 times 10.2 times cosine of 36 degrees. Just use a calculator. I've got a calculator now, so I'm going to use that. 6.3 squared plus 10.2 squared minus 2 times 6.3 times 10.2 times the cosine of 36. Make sure your calculator is in the right setting. So x squared is equal to 39.755. And then so x is the square root of that answer. So square root both sides. Root of your answer equals 6.31 centimeters to 3 significant figures. Okay, and I can check that kind of makes sense. Okay, what I know for sure is that this angle is not the biggest angle in the triangle. So therefore it can't be the biggest side, this can't be the longest side. Okay, so I knew my answer was less than 10.2, so I got 6.31, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay, it's pretty much the same, so we'll skip past this one. Okay, have a go yourselves at doing this one, see if we can find the right answer. Okay, I think you should find that this is the correct answer. This is also actually the correct answer, but not to the right level of accuracy. Okay, so 13.2 centimeters to 3 significant figures. Okay, this was 3 decimal places. Okay, let's skip this one, it's very much the same. Okay, stop your video and have a go at these ones, and then I'll display the answers. Okay, here we go. 12.7, 9.34, 7.99 and 11.9. Okay, let's skip these ones, much the same. Okay, here's a little challenge for you. You've got the cosine formula, which by the way will be in the formula book. Okay, but what I want you to do is rearrange to make capital A the subject. Okay, see if you can do it on your own, and then run the video and see if you manage to get the right answer. Okay, so rearrange to make capital A the subject. Okay, should be quite straightforward really. What we're going to do is we're going to move the 2bc cosine A to the left-hand side of the equation and simultaneously move the a squared to the right-hand side of the equation. So I will get positive 2bc cosine A, it's just adding 2bc cos A to both sides, is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared. That's just taking away a squared from both sides. Then divide both sides of my equation by 2bc. Okay, we're going to end up with cosine A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. And now how do I make capital A the subject? Well, if I want to get rid of a cos, I have to do shift cos. So A is equal to cosine to the minus 1 of b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Now what we've managed to do is rearrange the cosine rule to make it appropriate for finding an angle. This helps us find a side, and this one here is for angles. Okay, now the angle formula you will not get in the formula booklet, so you either need to remember it or you need to be able to work it out from the cosine, the side cosine rule, which you do get in the formula booklet. Okay, so here is a perfect situation for knowing, for using the angle cosine rule, because you know all three sides. We know all three sides, and we want to find an angle. So here's how I do it. Just use the formula: cosine to the minus 1, capital A. This is cosine to the minus 1 of. It's A that's important. A is always the one opposite the angle you're trying to find. And the other two don't matter. So b squared, c squared don't matter. So that's going to be 6 squared plus 4.9 squared minus 3.2 squared all over 2 times 6 times 4.9. Okay, whack that in your calculator, and you're going to get 32.2 degrees to 1 decimal place. Okay, as long as you've got your calculator in the right setting. So, stop your video, have a go at this one. Okay, so you're going to say x is equal to cosine, shift cosine of b and c have got to be this and this one. A has to be the one opposite the angle we're trying to find. So 10 squared plus 9 squared minus 12 squared over 2 times 10 times 9. Oops, sorry, bracket in the wrong place. Okay, and I think we'll find that that is 37 over 180. And so I can just directly put that into my calculator, shift cosine, and do it as a fraction. 37 over 180, because that way it'll be really accurate. And that is 78.1 degrees to 1 decimal place. Angles we always do to 1 decimal place. Okay. Right, here is a bearings style cosine rule question. Stop your video and see if you can do it yourself first. Okay, well basically all we've got to do here is find the bearing of Q from P. So let's look at P, and we always put in a north line. From the north line, measure in a clockwise direction around to Q. That's the angle we're trying to find. And it should be obvious to you that this angle is 180 degrees. This angle, if we can find it, we're just going to add it to 180. And how do we find it? It's a perfect situation for the cosine rule. with A being equal to 520. Okay, so there's my calculations. I get 49.7 degrees for this blue angle here. And to get the bearing, I just add 180. Okay? Right, stop the video and have a go at these questions. Typically, once I've taught you the sine rule and the cosine rule, you start to get mixed up because you don't know which rule to use and when. So here's 6 questions that use the cosine rule or the sine rule. You've simply got to figure out which one is the most appropriate rule. Okay, so stop your video and have a go. Okay, here are the answers. Okay, let me know if you had any problems with those, okay? Okay, right, I'm going to stop the video and there's one more intro video to come.